Hello y'all, CG here, back with another video, and after recent, well, I guess just looking back at my past videos, there are a set of videos that do tend to get me more views than others, and while I don't like view farming, I need to do this if I want to get a job as a YouTuber. So, two videos are Transformers and Beyblade. So I figure why not do an entire rant video about a Beyblade. This is Wizard Phoenix. Now, about a year back, I think it's a year back, either a year or half a year, I made a post about someone thinking that this Beyblade was better than stock Mirage. Now, that's not hard to do because Mirage is crap, but we'll get into that later. Right now, we're just here to talk about Wizard, at least for the moment. Now, Wizard Fafnir is part of a Beyblade system known as the GT system. Come on, focus. Come on. Whatever. Wizard Fafnir comes in 3 parts. If I can get the chip out. The Fafnir lair/ring. I never remember the weight names, so I just call them how they are. There are 2 6-point weights, one that's heavy and one that's lighter. So Octa, the heavier one's Octo. And the Fafnir chip itself. Next up is the disc known as Ratchet. It is a 2-part disc with, as you can guess, well, ratchets. However, it only ratchets going one way. When laid down, like flat, it won't move to my left, better known as counterclockwise, but it free spins to the right. However, that's when it's, low. When it's high up, free spins all the way. Next, we'll be talking about the core of this video, Rise. Now, some people think Rise is better than Fafnir's original driver, which I have right here. This driver is called Nothing. It is a spring-loaded stamina-type driver, which this is a fake one, but I do have an actual one. Now, some people say Rise is better than Nothing. It's not. So getting into the whole gimmick of Wizard and the Fafnir line in general, these bluish, sort of blacked out pieces on the rubber, on the layer, are rubber, allowing the Beyblade to, spinning counterclockwise versus a right spinning bay, like the one I have here, which if I'm remembering correctly, is Guardian Hydra, will allow it to steel spin because it has heavier contact with the bay. Due to that, it's able to spin steel, or at least do what bladers call spin stealing. And a great thing about Rise is that if you set it right, the Beyblade will just float because it's sitting on the flat disc that Rise has. Which, if I could get it to focus, which I don't think I can. There we go. Flat plate, and this is a sharp driver. Now, there's one big problem with Rise, is that it's flat. And the tip to the flat kind of just screws it over. I have another set of Beyblades to show, and that may prove this point better. Right here, I have the Sun and Moon twins, Helios and Hyperion. This being Helios, this being Hyperion. Now, let's take a look at their drivers real quick. We'll start off with Zone. Zone is effectively Rise. Just let me get it off real quick. Now a lot of people would say, no, it's not. Zone is a free spinning balance type driver. Rise is a solid stamina driver. Yes, but they are the same in concept. A sharp tip with a sort of flat surface around it. Difference is Zone free spins. That's why it's a stamina driver, or sorry, a balance driver. It's because of its versatility. Then you have Hyperion's driver, if I'm remembering correctly, Exceed, which is effectively an attack type version of Zone. What Exceed does is, this yellow bit here is rubber, allowing it to fly around the stadium with a free spinning disc, allowing for decent stamina, which is what Destroy does, which... yeah. Here's Destroy, which has a star pattern in the middle, free spin disc. Same driver, but this one's got rubber. But yeah, those are the same concept. Now, do I think Rise is bad altogether? No. Do I think it's useless? No. Do I think it's good for spin stealing? Not really. Let me show you why and get you on ground level real quick. Now, when it comes to stamina types, you want to be as low to the ground as possible. That way there's as little room to move you, or, well, launch you up. And while technically both of these Beyblades have a counter to that, one of these counters sucks. That counter to resist upper attacks as well as other attacks for Wizard is the ratchet disc. Normally it's pretty good. Problem is that a lot of Beyblades are just able to push it, not twist it. And even if they did just twist it as well, it would still push it. And thanks to Wizard's, well, Fafnir's god-awful teeth, yeah, it just bursts on like second, maybe first hit. Versus Hydra, which, even if we do just count or leave the teeth out of the equation, another thing that's bad is that Rise is solid. It doesn't spin, it doesn't flick, it doesn't do anything. It just falls. Versus Hydra here. As I said, nothing is spring-loaded, which allows it to, well, hold together a lot better. And take attacks a lot better because it's being pushed back and down a lot of the time. Bonuses. However, I also have one more Beyblade I think I need to show you. This is Buster Excalibur, a white Buster Excalibur, which comes with another of Fafnir's drivers, known as Absorb, which I guess gotta keep zoomed in, huh? Now, Absorb here is it's effectively nothing. However, with a free spinning plate. Now you may think, oh, isn't that a good thing? It allows it to hold stamina better. Nope, because Absorb is not held in place. It's a free-floating disc. It's not locked in place. And even though it is spring-loaded like this, it's also got these teeth here and teeth on the driver. I don't know how well you could see that. And once it locks into place, it says the Beyblade Flying. And now putting them all side by side, here's your comparisons. The lowest of the low is Absorb. However, it's got a flat spot. Rise and Nothing are about the same height, but Nothing can squish down to absorb hits better. And you want to know what they chose for the 4th evolution of Fafnir? They chose Nothing. This is Mirage. Sorry, I believe this is Vanish? It's one of the two, I always forget. I believe this is Mirage. Yeah, Mirage Fafnir. Now, there is a difference between this Nothing and this one. This Nothing has a much weaker downspring versus this one. So this one can take hits a lot easier. This one is more firm, so not really. However, my fake Nothing has a much better upper spring than this one does. Now, there's one driver I don't have of the bunch, and that driver is called Kick. Now, what Kick is effectively a spring version, or a hybrid version of Nothing and Rise, where it has a springy middle and an outer plate, outer ring. Which, one second. Here we go. It's roughly the width of this Lego piece, which is a circle being a 4x4. Now, this piece on said Kick driver would be spring-loaded, so it would lean in if it was pressed in on one side. Problem is that made it god-awful for everything. It's effectively Absorb without the free spin disc, and God, it is awful. I've seen battles using it, not worth it. So if you're going for a Fafnir driver on a stamina combo, yeah, no, just use Nothing. Like, there's a reason that the original God combo for Fafnir was Drain Fafnir. I believe it was Quart, Quart. I think that's what it was. And Atomic. Because Atomic is a completely free spin driver. The red ring spins, and the little black ball in the middle is free spin. Which means little to no contact with the ground. The only friction there was the friction on the driver. That was it. That's why Beyblades like Archer Hercules and Deep Canox became so well known. It's because Deep Canox, better known as Deep Chaos, I believe, or Chaos C3, had a driver called Bearing. Years later, we would get a Bearing Dash, but yeah. Now, Bearing is extremely well known for people who used to do Beyblade's 2nd gen, better known as Beyblade Metal Saga, from Metal Fusion to Shogun Steel. Which, I don't have a Deep Canox. least not one with bearing, but I do have an Archer Hercules. Let me tell you, this thing's horrifying. But just focusing on its driver, Eternal, this plastic that's used on it is palm plastic, which leaves little to no friction. It's completely free spinning. Honestly amazing. Absorb, kick, not so much. But yeah, no. That's all. I'm done with my Wizard Rant. So, thank you all for watching. This will be CG signing off.